One. All right. Hey, everybody, I'm live here, Mr. Clark, with a special conversation with Mr. Clark, with my good brother, Mervin Brookins. And I'm excited to be here with my good brother. We got a lot to talk about, this morning. Yeah. Sorry I'm late. They're getting the coffee and the donuts that they don't want, but it's a hassle. But I'm excited to have this conversation because Merv is somebody that I respect in the community when it comes to doing the work. I don't really know Merv on a level higher than that, but when it comes to doing the work in the community, representing our brothers, getting a lot of our brothers out of these situations with the criminal justice system, Merv is 10 toes down on the ground. And personally, I like to thank him before. I want to give you roses while you're here with this.
I appreciate that, brother.
You know what I mean? Because no matter what this conversation, how this goes, or however you guys feel about me or Merv after this conversation, the fact remains that he's done the work and will continue to do the work after this interview, and despite whatever anybody might think. So that's another reason I love this brother, is because it's not hard work; it's hard work. And I think that he's really in here for the people. He ain't going nowhere. And I think that for him to even have this conversation with me is huge on so many levels, because a lot of people will try to run away from the tough conversations, run away from the accountability conversations. And he said, you know what? No, I want to have this conversation with you. I think this is the actionable item when it comes towards bridging the gap between the younger African American generation and our older African American generation. If the elders like Merv and myself could sit down and have restorative, transformative justice meetings about the touchy, hard conversations and things to deal with, then everybody across all communities could do the same thing. And this is not just about the older generation and the younger generation coming together. This is, again, about Black and white people coming together, Democrat, Republican coming together, people coming together from Del Paso Heights, North Park, or South Sacramento, wherever, despite any agenda, be able to come together and at least have the dialogue. Because what I feel like, Merv, is that we haven't been having the dialogue.
That's true. I agree.
So before we start, can you please introduce yourself to anybody who don't know who you are, anybody watching, please?
Well, just a brother from the neighborhood. And my name is Mervin Brookins. I'm born and raised in Sacramento. Made some mistakes in my youth. Wound up on the wrong side of the law and was held accountable for it. A few years ago, I co-founded an organization called Brother to Brother with Brother Larry Craig. And it's just simply made up a group of men, most of whom have been on the wrong side of the law, that are dedicated to contributing to the community and building a healthy community, whether that's through mentoring, whether that's through social work, whatever it is, whatever way we can contribute, we're just trying to be men of our community giving back. I also started Grant Youth Sports.
Oh, I know it.
We have football, basketball, baseball, year-round activities, tutoring about 300 kids all year round. So those are my two passions, the youth sports and the criminal justice field, because I've been a part of both and stay in my lane, and that's what I do. But
love that part. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, we bad too.
Yeah, and I know y'all bad. The whole sports league is bad. So that's 11 night. Okay, so I'm gonna get these questions out, and the way we could do these questions, these first round of questions, are we could do them in a way where it could just be a simple yes or no, or you can not do it. Okay. I know you did want to explain a little bit of these questions, but you only have to. What I'm saying is, we do yes or no and just keep moving forward.
We're here for clarity.
Okay, thank you, my man. So, as everybody knows, my brother was assassinated in my grandmother's backyard in the evening of March 18th, 2018. And recently, Mervin Brookins has received Beacon of the Hope Award.
Beacon of Hope.
From the district attorney who failed to prosecute the officers who killed my brother. And not only that, she has failed to prosecute any officer during her entire tenure. Not only that, she has received over $250,000 during her entire tenure as district attorney. Not to mention that she has received $13,000 from police unions 3 days after the murder of Stephon Clark in his backyard. And she recently gave you a Beacon of the Hope Mervin, because the first question is, do you support the decision of Anne Marie Schubert to not prosecute the officers in the murder of Stefan Clark?
No, and that's a simple answer. As a black man, I can imagine a situation where an unarmed brother was shot by law enforcement, and I would agree with not only not to fire them, but not to prosecute them. I know there are different standards that they use to make those decisions, but I can't imagine a situation where I would be in agreement with that. So, no.
Okay. And thank you for clarifying that and putting it out there for the people. And the second question is between the affiliation with you and Anne Marie. And from the outside looking in, a picture is not an affiliation. From the outside looking in, a picture may seem like an affiliation. So, can you explain your affiliation, if so, not affiliation, with Anne Marie Schubert?
Well, I met Anne Marie when she originally ran for office several years ago. She came out and was doing the meet the greet as candidates do out to Jubilaire Church, and she gave a presentation. And after the presentation, we were able to ask questions, and so I asked a few questions. One of them was, "Would you have an open door policy?" She says yes. The other one was, "When we have cases or situations in our community dealing with your office, would you be willing to consider the thoughts of the community?" She says yes. She turns around and wins the seat. I followed up on those questions. We had a couple of young men, one situation, the first situation, we had a young man who I believe deserved another chance, that jail wouldn't be the best accountability for him. So I called and I asked for a meeting and got a meeting with her and her higher staff and presented the case for them to them about alternative sentence for this young man. We were successful in doing that for this young brother. And ever since then, when situations have come up and people needed an advocate, we've been there. And over the years, because we've had so many of those situations, we've built up a relationship. And I know you said Anne Marie, but Anne Marie doesn't work. She's not one of the line DAs. You know, you have a whole office of district attorneys. So over the years, I've been working with those district attorneys to help keep young men and women out of the system and help some come home that are already in the system. So that's the nature of my relationship. Not so much as with Anne Marie, but with the district attorney's office on behalf of our community. And I think that's a distinction that needs to be made. The work that I do is on behalf of our community, not on behalf of the district attorney's office. We've just been given that opportunity, afforded that access.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And then the picture, there's a picture posted that's been going crazy. And the picture that wasn't posted on your social media platform, but was sent to me, sent to other members of the community, with you and some law enforcement officials and some friends of the DA's office. That didn't sit well with the community because of the lack of people of color in the photo. The way it felt like it looked like a photo op is what people
Photo op, yeah.
would you like to respond to that?
So the picture that was sent to you was at the Beacon of Hope Award at the end. And the photo that you're referring to was of me, Anne Marie was in the photo, and several higher upper level district attorneys, Norgard, Tien Ho, the guys that make the day-to-day decisions in that office. And there may have been some officers in the background. So I assume that picture was sent to you to say, hey, look at this dude, right? But let me say this. The district attorneys in that picture, they are the ones that I work with when I'm dealing with trying to keep youth out of the system. They're the ones that said, okay, yeah, we'll give this person a break and we'll work with you on this case. They're the ones that have been a partner in interrupting the school to prison pipeline. So I have nothing but respect for those district attorneys. And I don't mind so much sharing the picture, but if you want to do it, tell the whole story. Don't take a snapshot and misrepresent it, right? The picture that I posted on my social media was of the same event, but it was of me and my 3 kids. That day was a moment for me to share with my family. And I had my kids and my grandkids there. And I was proud of that moment because to me, it was an acknowledgement of where I come from to where I am today. And I wanted my family to share in that moment. So that was a moment for my family. And that was the picture that I wanted to put out, not a political picture. It had nothing to do with politics. And it's unfortunate that people want to sit and take pot shots. You know, 9 times out of 10, those are the people that aren't doing anything to contribute to the solutions. But it is what it is. You know, I'll stand with it again. Those DAs in that picture are the ones that have helped me prevent hundreds of young black men and people of color from going into the system and coming out of the system. And I rock with that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
my cause.
Okay, so that answers the questions of whether you believe that affiliation or whatever the picture hurts or helps your reputation. Would you say?
Yeah, I guess. But what with respect? You mean with respect to reputation? You know, it's about family, brother.
Yeah,
You
right.
can't, you never control what people do from behind a computer. You know, yeah.
And then last question I want to ask you about the district attorney. Um, and because I asked you whether your alignment hurts or help, we asked about your relationship with her. Um, we talked about the community, and we talked about what your decision is regarding the Anne-Marie Schubert case. And there was one question we decided to leave off of the list, and we're going to keep that off the list. But wrapping up the Anne-Marie Schubert stuff, um, I do want to ask you, do you see where people could be upset when seeing you, respected community leader, next to Anne-Marie Schubert 2 weeks before she announces her attorney general? You know, do you see where people?
Of course, I get that, right? I'm a black man.
Okay.
And I experience the same hurt, pain, and emotions that you do or anybody else in our community does, right? There's no monopoly on the pain or the anger or the frustration. We got to get away from that. So I get that, right? I get how someone sees me in a picture with someone that they don't like, and then they make assumptions and judgments, right? I understand that. What we need to do, if we care, is to find out what's behind the picture. What is it about?
Have you had conversations with Anne-Marie Schubert regarding
Yes.
police accountability?
Yes, brother.
What about regarding Stephon Clark?
Yes, I look, brother. I'm loyal to the soil, right? I'm a brother. That affected me, right, dearly, right? I can't get away from that. So we got to stop assuming that because someone has a healthy relationship, there's an accountability. In fact, healthy relationships demand accountability. Because I work with that office, don't mean that I won't say, hey, you know what? That ain't cool. That ain't right. And no, I don't agree with that. So to answer your question, yes, I've had those conversations, not only with her, Police Chief Hahn. Anytime that I'm in a situation that's dealing with community issues, it's my responsibility to stand up and be the voice. If Stevante isn't there, it's my responsibility to stand up and represent. Ain't nothing token about me, man, because I do this work. It's my passion. But don't get me confused. I'm loyal to the soil, and I'm from where I'm from. We're going to hold people accountable where we can, right? So yes, I've had that conversation. I've had the conversation with her about the press conference because I didn't agree with that, right? And she explained it. And that doesn't mean we agree, but you don't have to fall out. And I'm not going to get ignorant and get disrespectful because it's counterproductive. I'm about solutions and what's moving forward and how we're going to help our community grow forward. So one of the things we have to do as a community is stop assuming that when a person of color gets in a position and is working with people that we may not like or disagree with, that person's a sellout or that person's a token. Maybe I'm doing the work. Ask me about it, right? And then we can talk about it. You mentioned about reputation. Here's the problem with that, brother. Reputation is what other people think about you, right? What matters to me is what I think about me, right? And I would be more disappointed in myself if I just sat back, knowing what I know about the system and how to navigate through it. If I just sat back and watched these young men and young women get caught up in the system and I did nothing because I'm concerned about what somebody else thinks. What kind of man would I be, right? What kind of credibility what I have. So with me developing relationships with Anne Marie in that district attorney office to save our young people, upset some people, then that you need to be upset, right? Give you another example. Every Monday and Thursday, I go inside the county jail to reach and teach our folks, right? To get to that point, I had to develop a relationship with the sheriff's department, right? Should I have not done that because of what somebody else is going to think?
No, you got
right. So if people want to cast stones or make judgments or assumptions, then that's their issue. It's not mine, and my back is strong enough to handle it. My experiences have prepared me to deal with that type of stuff.
Amen.
Sorry to get long.
No.
I'm passionate, just like you.
I want you to take this time to get it out and explain, so that way we don't have to go through this again.
Yes.
And I love it. My mama called me thinking long with it, so I get it. I want to wrap up the Anne Marie Schubert question.
Okay.
Because I hate even saying her name. For me, it's just I call her Carol Baskins. Everybody knows I call her Anne Marie Carol Baskins Schubert. But I love you. That's your friend. I hate calling disrespect. And all types of wild stuff, But Anne Marie Schubert, I think this would be a more powerful conversation if she was here, honestly. And I think if she was willing to, I don't think she'll ever probably sit down with Mr. Clark,
because you're crazy, man. I'm just messing with you. You know what? I agree, but there's nothing wrong with people who come from different, perspectives. We got to be able to sit down and talk without being disrespectful.
Yeah,
So I agree.
I think because the questions I have are the same questions I think the entire community has. Yes. And why haven't you prosecuted an officer during attorney? Why did you take the $13,000 after 3 days after my brother died? How come you collected over $250,000 during your entire tenure? It just, how come you feel like you don't represent the fights, rights, and the causes of our communities? Like, these are questions that the people would like for an answer.
And I believe those are legitimate, and I believe those are questions that, as she, runs for AG, that she's going to have to answer. Mm-hmm. And mind you, it's not about me and Anne Marie. No. Let's keep it about the work, right? Anne Marie opened up the door and said, hey, you know what, I support that, and gave the blessing for her office to work with me, right? So that's what it's about. And I believe that's fair. Have you ever asked her to call and talk?
No, I've never reached out to her office.
You should reach out. You never know,
Yes, you're right. You're right. Like I said, you never know. And I have not reached out, and I am going to reach out and see if she's willing to sit down and have the transformative, restorative justice meeting like we're doing right now. As well as
the district attorneys that are running to replace it.
Yeah, because we need to see all agendas and where they're coming from. And now moving forward, I said I was going to wrap it up with the Anne Marie Schubert questions.
All right.
I know you're probably sick of that.
No, I'm good.
The work that's been done in the community. Now, you've had a great relationship with Council Member Alan Warren.
Yes.
District 2. And it's well documented, actually, your relationship with Alan Warren. Alan Warren was not reelected to serve as council member. How hurt were you by that? And I wanted to know, why do you think he wasn't elected? How hurt were you by that? Why do you think he wasn't elected? And what do you think about, is like 3 questions in one.
That's good.
And what do you think about who has taken the seat? Sean Lowley.
Well, number one, I wasn't hurt. It's life, and I believe things unfold as they should. And it was time for Alan to, he came and served his purpose, right? Because when he came and he ran, he woke up a lot of people in the community to things that were going on in the city that wouldn't ordinarily be involved. Myself, I have never been involved in city politics. I didn't understand. I didn't know what we were missing out on because I wasn't educated about it. Alan came and he brought that awareness to our community. And through me and other people, he did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't so much concerned about doing things himself as opposed to building the people to empower the community, or maybe empowering the community to build the people. And through me, I'm a result of that. We talked about our junior patient program, our sports program. That's still alive and well, but it wouldn't have happened without Alan. So there's many things that are still going on in the community that he gave birth to. So I wasn't hurt. I just accept the fact that, things unfold as they should, and it was time for him to move on. I believe he lost the election. One, he was engaged in a lot of things, and he really didn't campaign. He didn't have a walk-in campaign, and he trusted that the community would make the choice that they felt was right, and he was cool with it. He was like, you know what, it's my time to move on, and he went back to doing his business. Sean Lee ran an excellent campaign. He was out early. He was out working. I remember one day it was like 106 degrees, and he was out knocking on doors, and I said, that man is serious. So I don't have a problem with Sean Lee. My guy lost, so for me, it's about the community. It wasn't even about Allen. It was about the community. But Lo Lee, I support him 110% as long as he's doing things to benefit the community.
He's been in office for 100 days. How would you grade him?
I think so far he's doing well. He's meeting and greeting. I know he's gotten out to meet people that are doing things in the community. He's extended the hand. I've met with him and talked with him, let him know the things that we're doing in the community. And, he pledged his support to be wherever he can be supported. He says he'll be there. So, and I'm going to hold him to that.
He owns a superstore, supermarket called Viva Supermarket.
Viva, yes.
And then, will you talk about it or we're not talk about it?
You ain't right. That was part of the campaign. So the issue was, you ain't right. So the issue was during the campaign, my pushback against Sean Lee was that there isn't diversity, let's be politically correct, which I'm not good at doing. But there wasn't diversity in employment in his two establishments because he has two stores. And I was like, how do you tell us that you're going to look out for our best interests if you're unwilling to give us a job now? Right? I didn't call the man a racist. I don't believe the man is a racist. I believe he's a businessman.
You never called him a racist?
Never called. You can look at any of my posts or any of that. I don't disrespect people, right? You can look at my posts, and as mad as I get, you won't see me calling somebody out of their name because I don't want to be called out of my name. I don't want to be disrespected, right? As much misinformation there is about me, I don't like being disrespected because sometimes I don't handle that. But I'm still a black man. I'm not a politician, right? And I don't always handle things as a
activist, the city that
So, but I've never disrespected that man, and I support him. And when I talked to him, I told him, I said, I believe your approach is gonna be effective, and I genuinely do. So I think it's a matter of time for him to get his feet under him and figure out what his agenda is going to be. And I think he's going to do well. And if he needs my support in doing that, I'm there. If anybody in the community needs my support or the support of brother to brother, we're going to be there.
Have you spoken to him since he's been elected? Have you sat down with his office since he's been elected?
I have. The first time was I happened to go in the store, getting change for they're good at that. Getting changed for the youth program, and he was coming in and I was going out, and he called me on it. He said, "Oh, you still think I'm a racist?" I said, "Man, I ain't arguing with you." We talked for a minute, laughed about it, and moved on. And then I requested a meeting with him in his office to build that relationship, and he agreed, and we met, social media, and we had a good conversation. I believe we did. I'm authentic. It is what it is. We got a disagreement, we do.
So Sean says the libraries in Del Paso Heights failed. During Alan Warren's leadership, the homelessness got worse. The cannabis clubs who just stormed Del Paso Heights. He says through Alan's leadership, people like Brother to Brother and Daryl Roberts resource centers have gotten bigger and tons of money and hasn't really done anything, he says, for the community.
Really?
Yeah, he says the libraries aren't adequate. He said the resource centers aren't really providing resources pretty much. And he says there has to be a lot of pretty much a regeneration, a revitalization of D2. It's a whole new new strategy moving forward on how we do things. Do you believe the libraries in Del Paso Heights are failing? Do you believe the strategy to combat homelessness in Del Paso Heights is failing? Do you think that the cannabis clubs coming to the Heights are part of a failed system? What do you see right now, post Allen Warren, the direction of Del Paso Heights in homelessness,
Yeah.
cannabis, and what was the third thing I named? The homelessness, the cannabis, and the
libraries.
The libraries, yes.
Well,
And the resources, libraries and resources.
well, that's interesting that he would say those things. In terms of the library, we've had the libraries we've had for years. The challenges that face Del Paso Heights are no different than Oak Park, Meadowview, some of the other underserved areas. So when you say libraries are failing, tell that to the people who utilize those libraries. They may not be the most modern, but they're there and they're working. So to me, that's disrespectful because there's a lot of people in our community that utilize and take advantage of those libraries. No, they don't have upstairs, downstairs, and several TVs and all that. No.
That's what he's talking about. I think he's talking about.
Yeah, no. Maybe you might want to give it a new building or modernize it, but I don't agree with the failing component. And if his view of homelessness is limited to Del Paso Heights, then you're starting off on the wrong foot. That's a nationwide problem. And you can't isolate Del Paso Heights from any other area that's dealing with homelessness. So you can't do it in a vacuum. Yeah, we have a homeless problem. Everywhere in Sacramento has a homeless problem. In the United States, there's a homeless problem. The question is not to blame your predecessor or not to place blame. Let's look for solutions. How do we deal with that? And to be honest, it's so pervasive, I don't know. And this is coming from someone, we go out and feed the homeless. We went out and tried to help get the homeless vaccinated. So it bothers me when people make judgments on things that they're not involved in, that you're looking from a distance. You know, now if you're in the fight, then yeah, I'll value what you have to say. But if you just want to sit back and make judgments and blame other people, then I'm not with that. And with regards to the cannabis situation, again, I try to stay in my lane and I'm not very knowledgeable on the ins and outs. I know Del Paso Heights doesn't have the most cannabis in their area. A lot of people try to say that, but they don't. And the ones that I've seen, I've never seen a problem at those places.
So I think a lot of people are saying the problem is that a lot of these cannabis companies are owned by people who don't live in Del Paso.
I agree with that.
And a lot of the money is coming back to the community.
And I absolutely agree. I ain't seen none of it. So, and I do know that when some of them were putting it early on, putting in their applications, they were asking for community support and say, yeah, we would come back and donate this, donate that. I ain't seen none of it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're doing. Again, that's not my lane. And I do know that the majority are owned by people that live outside of the community and not people of color. Yeah. So I know there's an issue going on with that.
Equity. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, you know, again, it's difficult for me to speak on that because that's not my field. You know, and it's not really impacting the community, probably in the lack of resources. So we can talk about that. Yeah. You know,
I don't know too much about it either.
Yeah, the Del Paso Heights have always been one of those communities that didn't get a fair share of the resources. Again, like until Allen Warren ran, I didn't even know the resources that was supposed to be coming our way from the city. I didn't. I was ignorant to it, like a lot of other people are. Most in our community were ignorant to. We had done so long without that we didn't even know we had it coming, right? And Allen woke us up to that. So if Mr. Lowlee can rectify that and bring resources, then I'm absolutely fine with that. With respect to brother to brother and Mr. Roberts can speak for himself. Brother to brother doesn't get finance. We got our first grant last year after being fighting for it for help for several years. So we're not one of those organizations that we get a boatload of money and you don't see our results. You see us in the community. I'm here because of the work that we do. So anyone that has an issue with the work we do, you can look at my Facebook page, you look at Brother Facebook page, but more importantly, you talk to people in our community. because they're the only ones that matter. People that's outside and have opinions, opinions are like,
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
So Sean would say that if you talk to the DA on the streets, or the police officers on the streets, they love you. He says if you talk to the community on the streets, you might hear mixed reviews. Do you agree about that? No. Okay.
No. I'm a good dude.
Yeah, I know.
And you and I disagree them every time we talk, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and I'm a good dude. You're not gonna find that. You're gonna find it from some people. They just don't like it, and I'm good with that. What you do is you look at my Facebook page, and as the work that I do, you see the response. I ain't got to defend the work that I do. And in his position, he should be building, right?
Do you think he's building?
I don't know. I'm not saying stuff like that, right? Not knocking a community member who's been in there many years before him and is going to be there many years after him. I don't knock him. I don't know the man. I'm here to support him. So I don't know what community members he's listening to, but I tell you this much. This community member, you want to see my work, come to the Robinson Center anytime Monday through Thursday. You'll see over 200 kids and 100 parents out there conditioning and working out together.
And that sounds like a message.
And that's every day.
Right, that's like, son,
that's every day.
Let's go visit.
That's whoever needs to hear.
Let's go visit Sean.
Come check it out. Don't judge. If you haven't been there, and I've invited
you.
If you haven't been there to see the work, it's because you don't want to see it, right? So again, judge me by my actions.
I think that'll be good for him to come see what you.
Because he said, since he told you that when you're interviewing, call me out, right? Anything I tell you, anything I say, call me on it, right? And I stand on it because I stand on truth.
So I'm talking to him next Saturday. Same right here. We're gonna
talk to him on Saturday, and I want you to come out Monday or Tuesday, and you invite him.
Okay.
And then if he comes, then you see for yourself. If he doesn't come, then enough said.
You have the council,
right?
See if you go visit.
But I try to stand on truth, brother. Whether I'm right, not always, but I try to do what's right, and I try to live my life today in a manner. So let me put it. You know how passionate you are behind your purpose, right? When I went to prison, I don't know how many young men that example negatively impacted.
Like you going to prison in 1989.
Yeah. I don't know. I was out of pocket. I was wrong.
Were you right? And at that time, were you already big in the neighborhood?
My family's been named in the neighborhood forever.
So
and I went to grad people. And I was visible.
Okay.
Right. And so I don't know how many people I negatively impacted, but that means something to me. Right. So, and I carry that with me. So today I try to live my life in a way that, one, I assume I'm always being watched, and two, anybody that sees me I'm impacting them in a positive manner. Every day that I've been home, brother, and the work that I've been doing has been an apology to my community for taking from them. And
so that's powerful.
That's my passion. So I don't need to defend what I do. I'm not here to defend what I do. If I have to build bridges to do the work, relationship bridges, then I'm gonna build them with Anne Marie, Joe Blow, Sean Lowlee, because I'm trying to make it right. And if anybody can't respect that, then that's their problem. It's not mine.
And how long were you incarcerated for?
21 years.
21 years. And you've been out for how long?
12
years.
Yeah.
And the what I see, coming from the outsider looking at you, I couldn't tell. If you showed me your Facebook page, I could never tell you've been incarcerated for 21 years because of the work that you've been doing.
Exactly.
Consecutive. It's almost like it doesn't exist, It's like you created a whole person in the last 12 years.
Yeah, but you notice whenever I'm in an interview and even on my Facebook page, I don't hide from it. And it's important that I don't hide from that chapter of my life, because there's a lot of other people that need to see that you're more than your mistakes.
So does it upset you when people bring up your criminal record consistently?
No, because I don't engage with those people. I made amends, and I try to continue to make amends. And my past doesn't define me. You know, you can go back 30 years and try to define me by one moment of my life, one day of my life. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So the reason why I speak openly about it is because there are a lot of other people that are incarcerated now, that are home from incarceration, that need inspiration, that need to be able to see if Merv can do it, I can do it. If he can turn his life around, I can turn my life around. That's why I go back inside the county jail. I don't get paid for that. I don't get paid for the work that I do with the district attorney. I don't care what people say. I don't get paid for it. I'm doing it because, you know, I was called to do it. So I don't hide from it. I don't shrink from that reality. I try to use it to empower other people. You know, all of our families got people that have been on the other side of the law at one time or another, and they all deserve another opportunity. Some of them 2 or 3 times. And if the work that I do can help them make that turn, then I'm gonna do it, and I don't care what anybody else thinks about it.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we covered everything.
We covered everything.
We covered
Shit, you don't start no more mess.
Well, I was going to say last minute things. I want to thank you for coming and having this conversation when it comes to bridging the gap. I have a SAC-6 program. Number 1 is bridge the gap between law enforcement and at-risk communities. Number 2 is inform and educate on policy and legislative change. Number 3 is to provide resources and healing spaces for those needing our community. Number 4 is to commemorate the life and legacy of Stephon Clark in a positive light, so that his name may live on for generations after you and I left this earth. Number 5 is to receive recommendations from you, the people, on how to prevent Stephon's from ever happening again. And number 6, the golden rule, the golden gospel, spread the gospel of love. John 15:12 says, love each other as I loved you. If you skip down to John 15:18, it says, if the world hates you, know they hated me long before they ever hated you. So spread the gospel of love. Everybody, love everybody. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. I want to thank my brother Mervin Brookins from Brother to Brother for having this transformative, restorative social justice meeting. This is how adults have conversations and work towards a better tomorrow. This is how adults sit down and have conversations on bridging the gap by dialogue, on community sustainability, promotion of intellectual independence. Even though we're talking about inclusive economic developments, equity, reparations, district attorneys, attorney generals, we have to sit down and have those dialogue and be transparent, because transparency without accountability means nothing. Just like solidarity without organization is useless. Just like passion without direction is chaos. And just like passion with direction is purpose. So we can come together and have these transformative, restorative justice meetings as the older generation, the younger generation, and somebody who knows and been in the streets his whole life. He's been my age. I've never been his, you know. If we can sit here and have these conversations, these dialogues on bridging the gap, then I believe everybody can. I really do. If me and him could sit down and do this, forget Howard, probably, you know,
that's right.
Then anybody, Sean could do it, Danny, the chief, could do it, Basara Bakar, I don't know, you know, all of them could do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think this is a step forward. And I think this is the actual item, and this is something that I think the next time we do something like this, it needs to be a panel discussion with people like me, you, some younger activists, and some probably pastors or something, or law enforcement, somewhere where the community can listen. Yeah. And I think
stop calling me old too.
No. It's look, it's not old. I hate to say like older. You know, like my elders, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I want to say more like, I want it to be a better word. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying though? Like. You the older generation though. You older than me. Yeah. Come on. You might, you know what I mean? Big homie. There you go, big homie. So we gotta hit the big homies down, the young homies. Okay. Yeah. All right. And so before I end it off the live, I want to give the floor to my brother Mervin Brookins. And I want him to just, you know, let us know anything that we need to probably look out for, anything you want to say last minute, any area he wants to clear, anybody want to put out there, promote, because this is going to be on all our Facebooks, it's going to be our YouTube, Twitter, our Instagram, and everywhere else. So I just want Mervin for you to really just say.
Well, I think we covered it, brother. I really want to say thank you for this opportunity. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. Because when you and I get to talking, ain't no telling where it's going to end up.
Conversation phone.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, even though we disagree, we come together and talk about it. And I'm really impressed with the I Am SAC, what you've done here. I didn't know that all this was here, but I'm really impressed, brother. I think you know, I love the passion of what you do. I just think as a community, we should seek to understand one another. Even if we disagree with each other, understand where that person is coming from, and let's respect each other's lane. We got way more battles to fight as a community than to be adding one fighting each other. That's some of the most asinine thinking that how can we move forward if we're fighting amongst each other about things that 9 times out of 10 don't matter. You know, my fight is with those that the two categories I told you about: youth sports and helping them kids develop, and the work that I do with the criminal justice. Right, that's my lane. Your lane is another lane. Rashid Sadiq, he's doing policy. That's his lane, and where we can support one another, that's what we're supposed to do. But because you're doing something different than what I'm doing, doesn't make it better than or less than. We should respect it as all a part of the same movement, right? And when we get to that point, then we'll start voting together, which is all end all, right? And that's for another conversation. And if you go back to my Facebook page, I was pushing that years ago.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. But we got to be more patient and understanding with each other and our different purposes, and find out where we can move forward together, and where we can't, we can agree to disagree. But that don't mean we got to fall out, right? We ain't got to fall out. We ain't got to be disrespectful. None of that, right?
Like I said, agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Without being disagreeable.
Without being disagreeable. And I'm going to tell you, man, I am really impressed by what you've done here, you and your family, and the work you're doing. And wherever I can be supportive, I will be. I'm there.
I appreciate you. This has been a special conversation, Mr. Clark, good friend Mervin Brookins, and like you heard him on camera, he said whenever he could be a support programs. Hello.
Wait a minute, I said
we're gonna hold him accountable to that because we need partnerships. And the thing about Stefan's house is we're not in Del Paso Heights, but the services we want people to come from Del Paso Heights. We just don't want to have everybody in the Heights all the time. You know what I mean? But the goal was to get city buses or our own buses and bring them out here so that way they're not stuck in one location. But thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for the Grant Youth Sports. Thank you for the criminal justice work you do. I gotta say thank you for the sports again because Grant kills.
You gotta come up. We are.
I know. I gotta come up with it.
But you got some good programs. You got Marcus and Old Park Panthers. You got out there with
but Grant.
And you know what's crazy?
Grant, man.
We are.
Yeah.
We are punching together.
Yeah, I know y'all competitive with something else. Right? I know y'all competitive with something else.
Yeah, but the brothers are out there. You know, everybody's doing their thing, man. We need to get on the page of let's push forward together because we can move it a lot. You know.
So are all the I know I've seen are all the sports teams they're all separated?
Yeah. So I started Grant Youth Sports. You have Marcus Smith in Oak Park that has the Panther. You have Bam in Meadowview that has the Bulldogs. You have Dade out in the South area. We're all different programs. Southside Vikings for Terrence. We're all different programs, but we function together. We support each other.
You guys play each other, right?
We play each other, compete like it. But off the field, we do things like my T-shirts and ties events where we bring young men and we teach them how to take ties and
I love that.
breakfast.
I love that. That was amazing.
Marcus brings kids out from Oak Park to that event. So we function together. If one team needs equipment or needs support, then we're supported. That's how we're functioning. So we need to do that on a bigger scale.
Like I heard you guys used to have something like that. We had to wrap it up. I know.
It's good.
But you guys had something like the Del Paso Olympics. There used to be Olympics.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
It's been a long time.
It's
been a long time. But
that's something we should look. What was that like when it wasn't around? What was that?
It was a good spirited, good natured competition. Kind of mimicked the Olympics.
Was it from Southside? How was it? Was it just double?
No, it wasn't just double. You had people come from all areas, and they competed just like it was. And it was an excellent community unified Sacramento City wide unifying event.
The city would do the Olympics?
No, we were doing it, but people would come from all over. And we were talking about doing something like that again. Then COVID hit. So
this is Black owned Olympics.
Yeah. This is, we do our thing, but there's more of us working together than not.
Okay.
We just don't tout and toot our own horns, but work is being done. Progress is being made. We're not where we want to be, but we damn sure ain't where we were, in the past. And we just got to do our part while we here, while we can. And We'll be all right,
All
bro.
right. Thank you,
Keep doing
brother.
your work, young
Yes, sir.
brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. Has been a special conversation, Mr. Clark. With Mervin Brookins live from Stefan's house. This conversation will be up all month on all the Facebooks, on the Twitters. It'll be shared to all the groups and all the platforms. I'm on Instagram right now, but this version will probably be deleted soon. But for everybody watching right now, if you have any questions or any comments or anything you want to submit or you feel about this conversation, please send to iamsackfoundation@gmail.com. And remember number 6 of the Sack 6. I just want to remember 6. Everybody love everybody. That's our story. Yeah, right. And that's our story. We're sticking to it. So I'm getting out of here. Much love to everybody who viewed on Facebook and all that. We got a lot of comments on here. You got so many comments that we're not even going to go through there right now. Thank you, everybody, for the level of support. The reason I turned the comments off is because I didn't want to get distracted from our conversation. But all the comments will be on display on the Facebook. I'm gonna leave them all up there. And any negative comments, I want to let you know, I will be deleting, blocking, and reporting your ass. Okay, so spread the gospel of love. Everybody love everybody, or you will be blocked, reported, and kicked off the social media outlet of the Mr. Clark platform. So thank you all. God bless you.